Have you ever wanted to add motion graphics to your videos, but felt like they were way too complicated to learn? The good news is that they don't have to be. In this video, I'm going to show you some beginner-friendly motion graphics inside of Davinci Resolve that are easy to create and can instantly make your content look more professional and engaging. And if you enjoy Davinci Resolve tutorials like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe because I post content like this almost every single week. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Effects tab and drag in a fusion composition and make it around 3 seconds long. Then we're going to open it in the Fusion page. Okay, so now once we've got this opened up in the Fusion page, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create our background. So we're going to drag in a background node, connect it to the media out, then change the type to 4-corner. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the top left color to a dark bluish color. And I'll do the same for the bottom right color. Now what I'll do is I'll click on this background over here and click on this background over here to create a new one. Then add in a rectangle node. And now I'll just connect this rectangle to this background over here. Now the first thing I'll do is I'll set the corner radius up by quite a bit. And drag the width down a bit and the height as well. So we'll have this clean looking bubble form. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, paste it, drag this up a little bit and connect this over here. And what I'll do now is I'll click on this background over here, change this to a gradient, and I'll create a bright bluish gradient with one end being bright and the other one being quite dark. Now I'll just go back to this rectangle over here and increase the border width a bit. Zoom in, we can see how big the border really is. So I'm going to make it a bit smaller than this. That looks pretty good. Now the next thing that I'll do is I'll go over here to this background and change the type to a 4-corner. And then what I'll do is I'll make the top left color over here, I'll make it a dark bluish. So now I'll quickly adjust all of this real quick so I have some space. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a soft glow in between over here. Soft glow, adjust the gain and glow size a little bit. Now I'm not going to leave it in here right now, I'm going to save it for later because I don't want my playback to go and lag. So I'm going to just drag it out over here and save it, and at the end I'll just drag it back in. Now I'm going to create our bounce animation, our X bounce animation. So to do that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in a new transform, plug it in between the merge 1 and 2, and I'll just go to the first frame, keyframe the width. Go 6 frames forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keyframe the width again. Go forward 5 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keyframe it again. Go forward another 5 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keyframe it, go over 4 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keyframe it and go over another 4 frames and keyframe it again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the first frame over here, set the width to 0. Just type it in like so. Then we're going to go over to frame number 6, set it to 1.1. Go over to this frame, set it to 0.9. Then go over to this frame and set it to 1.05. Go over to this frame and set it to 0.95. And then leave this one at 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the spline over here. I'm going to adjust it like so. Just only press S, we're just going to smooth down the curves. Head over to animation and put the motion blur all the way up. And now we'll have something that looks like this. Now all that is left to do is to make our text and add in the mouse cursor animation. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the spline tab up. Here I'm going to size this out a bit, create some space again. And what I'll do is I'll add a text in between merge and the transform. And I'll type in my text. So in my case, I'm just going to type in something like buy now. And I'll change the font, change the tracking a bit, and change the size as well. And position it a bit more up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a short delay. So first I'm going to have this bounce start and then I'm going to have the text pop in. So I think I'm gonna go to around frame 5 over here, and this is where I'm gonna start my animation. Okay, so to actually make the animation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click over here and select follower, open the modifier tab. Then you want to head over to the transform tab over here, click on the size, and over at this X over here, I'm gonna right click on it and press on expression. Now I'm going to drag this plus over to the Y over here. So it's gonna have the same size as the Y. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to keyframe the Y and X over here. And I'm gonna go around, say, 40-ish frames forward. Keyframe only the Y, you won't have to keyframe this one again. I'm gonna go back to this first keyframe over here that I've got on the 5th frame, and I'm gonna drag this Y all the way down to 0. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go head over to the timing and set the delay to around 0.5. 1.5 I meant. And now to add the bounce effect, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head over to the transform over here. Then I'm gonna go over to the Y over here and right click it and then press insert and then anim curves. Now change the curve to easing and the out value to elastic over here. Now this is the result we have for now. If you want to have this animation go faster, you can basically go over to the 50th frame and increase the input size. But if you want to have it slower, you can decrease it. I actually kind of like the speed that it's at right now, so I'm just going to leave it. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press on this text over here. So we're in the tools section and not in the modifier section. I'm going to go over to the shading tab over here and change it to a gradient. Then what I'll do is I'll set the black color, I'll set it to a bluish color. Probably something like either this blue or this blue. Doesn't really... I'm going to go with the darker one. Now to finish the text section, all that is left to do is to add a soft glow node. So I'm going to press shift space and add a soft glow node. And I'm just going to adjust the gain and glow size a bit so it fits. So I've set it to around 0.32 and the glow size to around 26. Now we have something that looks like this. Now you could add motion blur if you want. You could go over to the text over here and go over to setting and add motion blur. However, I'm just going to leave it off for the sake of this video. Okay, so now for the final part of the animation, I'm going to animate a mouse cursor. So right now we've got this. And what I want is I want a mouse cursor to come in here or over here, go above the buy now, and then click on the buy now. Also, by the way, this is when you can actually add in the soft glow that you've made earlier. You can just drag it in over here. So I have my mouse PNG over here in my media pool. I'm just gonna drag it in, and I'll close the media pool back up, and I'll just size this down a bit, and I'll drag the media in over to this merge. So it creates a new merge. And now we've got our mouse cursor in here. And what I'll do now is I'll add a transform node. And after that transform node, I'll press shift space and add a drop shadow node. And this drop shadow, I will just change the drop distance and I'll change it to be a bit further away. Now I'm going to head back over to this transform and click on it. And what I'll do is I think I'll start the animation at the 15th frame. Okay, so before I make my animation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size of the merge over here, so it fits the whole screen. So put this at really high so I don't have any glitches whatsoever. I'm going to go over to the transform and I'm going to size this down all the way again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the 15th frame, around the 15th frame, and I'll just keyframe the X and Y and bring this out of sight. Oh, drag this all the way over to the... And I'll go around 20 frames forward, keyframe the center X and Y again, and I'll bring it forward a bit. So probably change the angle a bit too. So then I'll keyframe the size, go 4 frames forward, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Keyframe it again, go on and go 4 frames forward again, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'll go back to the middle one and change the size and size it down a bit. And I actually don't really like the positioning of the mouse, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back over here and I want to have this a bit more up. So now we have something that looks like this. Okay, so now to finish this all off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the spline over here. After clicking on the transform, then I'm going to graph all of these. So first of all, I want to graph this think like this maybe. And then the size, I'm not really going to change anything. I'm just going to smoothen out the curves like so. Now we have something that looks like this. And to finish it all off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the motion blur and set up the quality 10. And now that basically finishes our animation. So now we have something that looks like this. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to learn next.